There's a quote, and I think it's from Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger, that goes something like, the problem isn't that people don't know what is so, but it's when they believe that they know what is so and it's not, or something like that. But essentially, it's saying that the big problem, oftentimes for many people, isn't that they're right or wrong necessarily. It's that they believe they're so right when they're so wrong. There's a quote from John Maynard Keynes that goes something like, when proposed or when faced with an opportunity or a decision to change one's mind or to prove that they're right, most people set about finding the proof. Now, again, I'm paraphrasing both quotes, but I was in a conversation earlier today with somebody about assumptions and how we so often make so many assumptions based upon very little information, actual factual information. We make these big assumptions, we extrapolate all of these conclusions with little to no evidence, and then we end up building our entire identities and personas around these assumptions and extrapolations and conclusions that at the end of the day are so poorly supported, if even at all, by any actual real evidence or facts or data. As a side note example, how many people do you know of who are programmed in their political beliefs through little more than memes? I mean, really think about that. There are now entire books written about the impact of memes on society. Something that seems silly and easily disregarded, it has been and is one of a big driving force in shaping political and cultural ideology within subsets of human tribes and people. Left, right, this leaning, that leaning, this skin color, that skin color. Memes. Like, really think about that. I went through my own kind of awakening, I want to say, well, it was over a few years and I'm always self-aware of it, but it really started, I want to say, between 2016 and 2018, right around in there, is when I started to really ask myself, where do all of my assumptions, conclusions about life come from, about politics, about society, about men in general, about women in general, about marriage, about taxes, about America, about the world, about spirituality. Just where are all of these assumptions, these conclusions, these perspectives that to me are so die hard? Where do they actually come from? Are they supported by big facts, big evidence, right? Or are they just received opinions fed to me by one source or another? Parents, family, church, friends, the internet, TV, society, marketing, etc., etc., etc. So I'm making this video for you to simply say this. I believe it is very important as a man to truly understand where your assumptions and your conclusions about life come from, to have real facts, evidence, and data that supports and backs up your opinions, your perspectives, your conclusions, your assumptions. And I believe it's very important to question your own assumptions, to question your own conclusions, not from a perspective of doubting yourself, but from a perspective of challenging yourself, challenging your own argument, challenging your own opinions in order to either, one, reaffirm it and find even more supporting evidence, data, and information to support it, or to find flaws, gaps, blind spots in it that you can then solve for, or elevate above that current level of thinking and assumption and conclusion to a more accurate, effective one. Psychologists tell us that most humans' personality, the personality of a human, the fundamental personality of a human, is formed by about age 6. Now, how many deep, intellectual, introspective thoughts are you having between 0 years old and 6 years old? None. And yet, your entire fundamental personality is formed during that time. Now, how many assumptions and conclusions do we make about life from 0 to 6 years old? Well, apparently a whole lot of them, because our fundamental personality is formed and shaped by, on average, 6 years old. So almost every assumption, conclusion, and perspective we hold by 6 years old that's correlated to or causality of our fundamental personality is a received conclusion, a received opinion. Either something that was told to us as this is the way, or something, or some conclusions that we came to in our very young, impressionable minds that weren't capable of reasoning and critical thinking based upon our environments. Right? And so you hear these statements from people like, oh, I was born into a conservative family. I was born into a liberal family. I was born Christian. I was born Muslim. I was born this. And I'm not saying to not be liberal or conservative. I'm not saying to not be Christian or Muslim. I'm not saying to not be anything. What I'm asking you is, did you consciously actually choose your assumptions, conclusions, opinions, beliefs, and perspectives? What facts, evidence, data do you have to support and back up what you believe and what you say is the way the world is? Because your assumptions, conclusions, perspectives, opinions, and beliefs as a man largely form how you're going to show up in your day-to-day life in terms of decisions, choices, actions, habits. And that then, in turn, literally shapes, builds, and forms your entire life. What I'm sharing here is deeply correlated to a previous video I made not too long ago where I talked about thinking, right? And that the quality and level of your thinking, or the results in your life, are largely a reflection of your the current level of your thinking. That they are a reflection of what has been your best thinking up until now. And if you really want to change your life, you're going to have to change your thinking. Correlated to that is your assumptions, your beliefs, your conclusions, your perspectives and opinions about life. Like, I'll leave you with a simple contrast. In the last few years, the red pill space, the manosphere space, has become popular. And so people deep in the manosphere or red pill, they have perspectives, conclusions, opinions, beliefs. People who aren't in it, people in the red pill say that the opposite is blue pill. So let's just say blue-pilled people have their opinions, perspectives, conclusions, assumptions. Okay. From my perspective, feminism would makes women more masculine. from my understanding of what feminism is and modern feminism and what it tries to promote, it makes women more masculine, puts women into their masculine energy. If a woman's in her masculine energy, that's her choice, whatever it might be. For me, I like feminine women. However, in the red pill manosphere community, for my personal take on it, while they lambast and throw rocks at blue pill, feminism, whatever their enemy, whoever their cultural enemies are, right? It seems to me that they try to turn women into infants, toddlers, mentally and emotionally and character-wise. For example, how many times have I heard from some red pill or manosphere guru that if you're with a woman and she's going on women's girls trips, then she's cheating on you. If she's in a relationship with you, there's no reason for her to go on a girls trip. The only purpose of a girls trip is to go have sex with other guys. Well, let me give you a news flash. Women don't have to go on a girls trip to cheat on you. Women can cheat on you in a bathroom at the bar. They can cheat on you at the mall in a dressing room. They can cheat on you at the gym, in the parking lot of the gym in their car. These are 3 places I know of for sure a woman can cheat on a man. Do you know how I know? Because after the fact, I found out that I'm the guy that they cheated with on a boyfriend or a husband. Dressing room in a mall, bathroom in a bar, a car in a parking lot at the gym. Now, I'm not saying that I'm proud of that. I'm not saying that that was good. I'm just saying after having fun, hooking up, turns out they had a boyfriend or a husband. Now, those women weren't on girls' trips. You see what I'm saying? So all these guys, this is just an example of what I'm talking about: assumptions, conclusions, beliefs. Where do they come from? Are there facts and evidence to back it up? So many men in the manosphere, the red pill, they try to make women almost seem like helpless idiots or something, where you got to put them on a leash and keep them at the house. Listen, not allowing or if you're in a relationship with a woman and she doesn't go on women's girls trips, that doesn't mean she can't cheat, brother. And so I'm showing you these extremes, right? On the far end of one of the scale, feminism tries to turn women into men. And on the other end of the extreme, in the manosphere, it's like they look at women as these incompetent, infantile creatures that can't be trusted with anything, which is also not accurate or true. How about just being with a woman who has morals, has character, and respects herself? Because that woman can go on women's trips, girls' trips all the time and not cheat on you. You see what I'm saying? So there's an example of a spectrum of contrast where on one end, a subject or topic, the fidelity or infidelity of women, right? Or the position or posture of women in society. On one end, they try to make them more masculine. On the other end, they're saying that they're completely incompetent, untrustworthy, and got to be controlled. But I don't agree with either. I don't think it takes away from a woman to be feminine and to submit to a man and be submissive to a man in a relationship if she trusts him to lead. A woman can be a high caliber, high quality woman and then simply find a high caliber, high quality man to be in a relationship with and to submit to his leadership. That doesn't make her any less strong. And it doesn't make her less of a woman to be in that role, in that position, if that's the kind of role she wants in life. And a woman can go, so I'm not going to accept the opinion, the conclusion, the assumption from one end of the extreme that unless a woman is also has a career and is also doing everything that a man is doing, then she's less of a woman or she's missing out on something. I don't accept that. I don't have to buy into that. And on the other end of the extreme, I don't have to buy into this idea, this ridiculous idea that if a woman is in a relationship and she's going out on girls' trips, then that means she's trying to cheat. I mean, what kind of infantile, asinine conclusion is that? You get what I'm saying? So all that to say, be aware of, do your best to be aware of assumptions, conclusions, opinions, and perspectives that you have on life. And when you feel them and see them pop up in your life, in your own mind, your heart, etc., in conversation, in reaction to things you hear about, ask yourself, where does that come from? Did you actually form it with critical thinking, introspection, thoughtful deliberation, evidence backing it up? Or do you just have some sort of a received opinion, conclusion from somewhere in the ether, and now that's just what you believe and that's how life is? You get what I'm saying? There is one principle that I really like that's talked about in the manosphere a lot, and that's this idea, or maybe it's the red pill, but it's this idea of, as a man, you must be your own mental point of origin. That I really like and agree with. Because from my perspective, my understanding, it's saying to truly make up your own mind and come to your own assumptions, conclusions, perspectives, opinions, beliefs, etc., through critical thinking, introspection, reasonable deliberation, and not simply just accept whatever your social group says, or whatever your political party says, or whatever society says, or whatever, your favorite podcasters say, whatever it might be. Truly be your own mental point of origin. Otherwise, you will never even know when you're being the victim of misguided, false, vapid perspectives, conclusions, assumptions, and opinions that actually are faulty, broken, etc., and are hurting you in your life.